Hey there, welcome to Worth It Wednesday. Every Wednesday we send a principle worth learning, a question worth answering, and a recommendation worth taking. Today's principle is that quality is part of your testimony. And this principle is really part of the Faith at Work series that we're doing on the Path for Growth podcast right now. It's a 6-part series that is really all founded on the same thesis statement. And that statement is that work is not a place for your faith to be concealed. Rather, work is an opportunity for your faith to be revealed. And that kind of begs the question, okay, how do I reveal my faith in my work? And we've focused on 5 ways that are really accessible to anyone. But what we're really saying is that, man, the place that you work might be the greatest opportunity that you have to live and practice and share the good news that you deeply believe. And so the 5 ways that we've focused on are excellence, countenance, confidence, obedience, and dependence. And specifically, today's principle is related to that idea of excellence. Because think about this for a second. Jesus' mission really initiated and was inaugurated whenever he was baptized by John the Baptist in the Jordan River. And when that happened, it's estimated that he was around 30 years old. And so that's really helpful for me, first of all, because it helps remind me, like, okay, Jesus is not just this mythical character, right? Like, he was a real guy. And most historians actually agree that you cannot, with intellectual honesty, make an argument that Jesus wasn't a real person. Now, whether or not he was the Son of God or not is a whole different discussion, but was he a real person? Most people would say yes, he was a real person, and he was 30 years old whenever his ministry was inaugurated. And it was at that time that we really start to have a lot of information about the miracles that he did, the people that he healed, and the messages that he spoke. But before that, between his birth and age 30, we don't really have that much information about what this guy named Jesus from Nazareth was doing. But one thing that we do know is his occupation. Jesus was a carpenter. And it's in that light that I have a question for you. Do you think that Jesus the carpenter did shoddy work? Like, do you think that, let's say he made tables, chairs, and benches. Do you think, like, his tables weren't very good, they weren't very level, and his benches weren't very sturdy, they would wobble, and his chairs weren't something that you could depend to hold your weight and that you could actually sit in? And then what do you think about the service of Jesus the carpenter, right? Do you think customers were pretty skeptical of him because he was prone to overpricing and to not telling the truth and to being deceitful and to giving discounts to some people but not to other people? And do you think he lacked integrity? And do you think there was a kind of a reputation for the way Jesus treated people that was not so good? Something inside me just says there is no way. Now, the Bible doesn't really say much about the quality of Jesus's tables, chairs, and benches, or even the quality of Jesus's service, but I think we can all assume, like, I'm pretty sure he probably made excellent tables, chairs, and benches. And I bet you the quality of his service, the way that he interacted with his customer at that time, was probably pretty exceptional as well. Why does that just make sense? Well, I think it just makes sense because if you're the Son of God, it seems right that your work would be a reflection of the Father that sent you. Well, it's in that light that I want you to remember something that I believe is true. You are a son, you are a daughter of God. So it just makes sense that the quality of your work would be a reflection of your heavenly Father. And it's in that light that it's like we have a responsibility with the work that we've been given today, with the opportunities and the customers that we've been given to serve, the projects that we've been given to work on, the places that we get to step into, and the teams that we get to lead. We've got an opportunity to not just do that in a way that's certainly mediocre, to not do that in a way that's half-hearted, but to do that in a way that's excellent, to throw ourselves at that thing, to pour our heart into that thing. And think about the way we think about, like, craftspeople and cooks and athletes. Whenever they do something really well, whenever they pour their heart into something, what do we say? We say, wow, that is just such an inspired performance. The etymology of the word inspired is the Spirit breathed into. And so what would it look like to do your work in a way that is inspired, that the Spirit of God breathes into it that it's so good, it's so artful. You do it with such care and attention to detail and love for people that people can't help but point their eyes towards heaven, because quality is part of your testimony. Let's go.